Now, what we're saying here now is that since Africa is such an important continent, that unless we can really deal with this situation in the Cape Towns and the Durbans and all of these other cities where we know we've heard reports, then there's absolutely nothing that we should hope of ever eradicating this disease. Is that what we're saying?
Well, I mean, again, if I, I think of the 20 odd years I've been working, I always think there's hope. I think that people need to be accountable. I think that people in grassroots and in political elected officials, we have been doing this work for 1980, it's 27 years already. And we know what needs to be done. We don't have to have any more studies. We need to put into practice what we already know. In terms of drug use, we have a country here in this country that won't even let needle exchange exist to help addicts keep themselves clean from AIDS and from hepatitis C. The same is true. There are, countries that need this kind of, it's a very inexpensive, it really needs to be paid attention to in terms of prevention and education. But leaders and elected officials need to take a stand, and there needs to be a real pulling together of resources. I mean, there's no, as long as there's hunger in this world, there can be no justice, and you're losing potential teachers, you're losing, potential, no matter how you're looking at it, you're losing a segment of a population. It's a genocide.
And of course we've got about 3 minutes, but I think that the message that you have is not only an excellent message in terms of AIDS prevention and et cetera, but I think it's also a message that could be used by dealing with some of our young people, which is to say that you talked about the lack of education and what people will do in terms of education. Why don't you use the next 3 minutes that we have here to talk to our young people who really don't seem to have an interest in education and et cetera, and perhaps tell them about what is being, how other individuals in Africa and other places might yearn for the kind of free education that's here.
All I can say is, I think Spike Lee said it, wake up, just really wake up, use every moment. I have 3 grandsons. I tell them every day, use your brain, pay attention, listen, and, school, it's the thing that you're going to do for the next 20 years. I mean, you can say it as a joke. I mean, when I look at all the Game Boys and everything like that, put it aside, take a book, read, talk to somebody, talk to an adult. I mean, education is so important, as well as, being part of the community, paying attention to what's going on. And this is for the older adults, the young adults. I hear stories about TSU students just wasting time, not paying attention, not wanting to do their work. The same is true over Vandy. I was in a conversation last night. Everybody is like, I don't have to do anything. We have health care, we have every issue is back on the table. We need to wake up.
Very good. And one of the things in reference to these reports about dealing with Africa, do you think that there's some way that we can create a new national consciousness among our leaders in terms of dealing with some of these issues?
Look, I mean, there has to be the private and nonprofit sectors working together. The churches are involved. There has to be not separatism, but really a coalition and being inclusive of every piece of resource possible. Because again, I see it as a genocide. I see people dying. I mean, even in this country, I mean, we have, what are we talking about? Sexual behavior and drug behavior. Something that could really be stopped. 27 years into the, pan-epidemic, and it's still here. And there's still new cases, and African Americans are still in the lead of new cases that are happening. Something's not right with that picture. We're doing something that, we got to be talking to each other more. We have to be able to be open and hearing new ways of doing things, because what we're doing is not working.
Very good. And of course, over this last half minute, Ms. Perkins, let me thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent report on what is going on in Cape Town, South Africa, in addition to all of the other information that you gave us, especially to our young people. I think that will be instructive to them. And of course, let me also encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.